Welcome to Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush.
And welcome back to the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. Happy Father's Day to those fathers out there and to the mothers out there that are also sometimes have to be the father as well. Hope you guys are having a great Father's Day. Today we're going to have one, Sydney Fox, who's going to come here and talk about her business, her personal training, her yoga, where she went to school, all that kind of good stuff. And currently we're still killing it. I believe we're at 9.6 million listeners and followers in 19 countries and 19 countries, 195 cities throughout the world. And we are doing an absolutely great job. We're excited. We're thankful to all the fans out there that have made this Buckle Up Podcast Universe show special with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. We look forward to all the guests that we have on. I'm actually trying to pull these numbers on while we wait for Sydney to show up. 1 second. This is actually my handle right here, the Brandon Rush page. That's Brandon Rush with 2 H's. You see I have 5.4 million. Actually, you can't see because the light's kind of reflecting off. And then the other page is a Buckle Up podcast page on Instagram as well. We're also on YouTube, and we are on Spotify, podcast station. We're in 20 different podcast stations. iHeartRadio. We're all over. There's 20 stations altogether. So if you look up the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush, that will pop up. I mean, it will be the one on any of those stations. So we're on 20 altogether, and we're doing a good job. As I said, we have 9.6 million viewers / listeners in 19 countries and 195 cities throughout the world. Quick thing, because Sid's about to join. That's 5.4 million just in the last couple of days, actually. So that's 5.4 million. And now I'm going to let Sid on here. Let's see what she is up to. Oh, I love her headshot. Sid.
Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming on the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush today. My mom's not going to be on here. It's going to be just me. And you are, and go ahead and say your name, Sydney, too.
I'm Sydney Fox. First off, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad we've stayed connected throughout, all of these years.
Yeah, I am too. Like I said, from the first moment I met you, I think you were visiting from Texas.
Yeah, that was a good.
Yeah, when I met you, I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Bungalow or another place, but I remember I met you.
No, it was Bungalow for sure.
Okay. Yeah, but you're so awesome and down to earth, and I love meeting you then, your friend, and then Marissa or Marisol or something like that. So I met you both at the same time. So it was good to have you. It was nice to meet you guys. I'm glad that we have stayed connected as well.
I know.
How are you doing today? How have you been?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. The weather's great out here. I mean, of course, I am just praying everyone's safe. I think that where I'm at, I definitely just want to say that, just praying for everyone's safety, just in life.
No, you're right. There's a lot going on in the world too. So it's just really sad to see, but hopefully things can come back to being better.
Yeah, definitely. How are you?
I'm doing great, Sid. I'm all over the place. The show's going really well. We're excited about that. And then I'm just trying to stay positive and working out,
Yeah, the things we can't control.
Yeah, exactly. So Sid, this is all about you. You have as much time as you want. This is basically strictly about you today. I want to get the audience to know more about you. From what I know, I looked at your page. You do several things here. One, you launched your own podcast too, didn't you?
I just started a TikTok podcast series that I'm launching and working on.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm sure it'll expand over time. So I'm super excited about that.
Well, Sid, will you say the name of it so our listeners would know what it is or where they can find it?
Oh my God, absolutely. So it's on TikTok right now. It's called Valid but Dramatic. Yeah, which I'm loving because it's come for the chaos, stay for the coping skills. I mean, look, life is messy. Humans are messy. And it's just own the mess, be in the mess, and cope along the way.
Yeah. No, I love that. So you said valid, is valid through the chaos? I'm sorry, what was it? It's one of the two?
No. Valid but dramatic.
Okay, valid but dramatic. Sid, before I get into your other stuff, how did you come up with that? What was the thought process behind it? Because I want to hear it and tell it to all of us.
I mean, I feel growing up, I always was that person that's too much, but didn't feel valid a lot of the time. And I just I'm like, you know what? I'm so tired of like second guessing myself
Yeah,
on like gaslighting my own self. So I was like, no,
really.
I'm done with that. I'm just gonna validate myself. And I don't
Yeah.
think I'm dramatic. If growing up, my name literally was like DQ for drama queen. And I'm like,
Oh, really?
I'm just gonna own this at this point. So what if I'm dramatic? I'm valid. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
love that. Keep going, Sid. Keep going.
no, and I feel like a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, you're being so dramatic. You're too much." You know what? I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we're valid, you're valid. Everyone's experience is their own, and it
Yep.
doesn't matter if someone else agrees with you or not. Like your experience is valid,
Yeah.
and like it can be dramatic at the same time. Who cares?
Absolutely.
Um,
It's your story.
yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, just really all about like owning yourself, owning your internal experience, your external experience, whatever it is that
Yeah.
makes you feel like safe. Does it always mean that it's justified? Maybe not, but
Yeah.
that's another story.
Sid, I love that you're doing that. I think that's so important because a lot of times some people are insecure. Some people are always worried. Even I, to a certain extent, for the longest time, I was always worried. What about what other people think? What other people think? Even on social media. And then, like when I switched over to the business account, I realized the fact that it's non-followers that have been paying attention to all my stuff. It's not even the people that I know. I'm like, why have I been worried about you guys when it's it's literally the amount of non-followers that we built that like are loving everything. They've been the biggest support system.
Yeah, I'm like completely dying laughing because I have an identical twin too.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was literally talking to her about this today. Is like sometimes we're so focused on like the people in our life that aren't supporting us,
Yeah.
aren't giving it. And the reality is like we're so like laser focused on that, we forget that there's so much more out there. Like the world is so much bigger than just this internal world that we're seeing. And I love that you're getting to have that experience because
Yeah.
it's so true when you just like open your like horizon, and like when other doors close, other ones open. And so no, I love that.
Yeah. It's Sid. You're absolutely right, and I'm glad you have your sister that you're able to be able to talk like that. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, my mom asked me a question. Give me 1 second. Mom, I'm gonna. Oh, what's that? Yes, ma'am. I can. uh,
We know you have manners. We love that.
oh, thank you so much, Sid. Sid, I'm not gonna even lie to you. I just gotta run and turn something off real quick, and I'll be right back.
You're
I'm so
perfect.
sorry.
Oh my God, don't be sorry. You're fine.
Dang it, burned my hand. Okay, I'm back. I'm so sorry about that, Sid. Back from commercial break.
Great.
Yeah. So it's what you said, like the fact that we're so worried about the inner circle, and I love the fact that you talked to your sister and you guys both realize the fact too that the world is a big place. Like, why am I worried about posting? Oh, my friend's gonna think I'm posting so much, but that could be denying your blessing at the same time.
Yeah. And I even think like as you were talking about, this feeling came over me of like this hurt. Why are we looking for all this stuff that also is like internally validating that hurt that's inside of us,
Yeah.
right? When there's like so many other things to shift our focus on that may not hurt us, that we don't
Yeah.
even see, that we're blinded by, you know?
No, you're absolutely right. Like it's been amazing. It's been an eye opener. This whole entire experience has been an eye opener, which is why I'm glad that you have your TikTok now because so many people should gravitate to that. That's why when I saw that you started that, I'm like, ooh, I like this because I watched the whole thing and I was like, I love
Yeah.
this, which is why I appreciate you being so receptive when I wrote you to be like, hey Sid, like, is there any way I could have you on? Because I love what you're doing.
First off, I really appreciate that. It's so funny that you said that. Even me, like, I feel like I was even questioning, like, can I do this? Am I like worthy of this? Like that imposter syndrome totally comes
Yeah.
up, and it's so real. And I think it's so important to be honest because the reality is like those thoughts are lying to you. Like we're
Yeah.
all worthy. And the reality is, I was totally gonna say something. Oh, I feel
Okay.
like sometimes it's like sometimes really scary to like take the next step
Yeah.
towards like I don't want to say success, but putting yourself out there because you're also in a sense of like grieving old versions that didn't want you to be that person.
Yeah.
And so I even like during me just showing up here, I also am like, I had to like go through a process and be like,
Really.
okay, yeah, because I definitely have struggled with my own insecurities, my own fears, just like everyone. And
Hmm.
like putting myself out there despite negativity, there's so much, it's not for that. And the reality is you're always going to have someone that's not going to see your vision or see you and support you, and that's okay. It's about building this internal dialogue to believe in yourself no matter
Absolutely.
what.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I love that. Sid, I'm gonna have to have you on here more than once too, just in case I ever need to pick me up or the audience needs to pick me up. Like,
I've got you, but it's
okay,
a game. We're bouncing off each other.
yes, we really are. Like, you said two things that are both perfect. I'm gonna make sure I touch on both of them. One, with insecure, I've been insecure for the longest of my lifetime, and I'll talk about that. Like, I was a fat kid growing up from second grade all the way. I don't look like the way I look now or since I met you, but I was like fat all the way until like high school. But I always had that fat kid mentality,
Yeah,
which like I never saw. Oh, and I always felt like an ugly duckling, if that makes sense too. So like I never,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I never realized how I felt on the outside because I feel like I was like the fat kid was still in me, but I was just in this machine on the outside. But it took people, I guess, like dating, I guess you could say, like to realize, like, hey, man, like you were belonging of this love that is coming your way. That you are, and you're a good person internally too. Like I'm not cocky. I don't treat people like crap. Like I'm actually a good person. So all this positive, good stuff was coming into my life, but it wasn't until, and I make the joke, until I stripped for Betty White, I was insecure about being in front of people, being comfortable in my own body. But when that happened, I never felt so comfortable in my lifetime dancing for that whole entire audience. And she told me it was the best day of work she ever had, even though she was probably lying. But she gave me that, yeah. But
Stay
Betty White gave me
Lulu.
that, yeah, exactly. And so Betty White gave me that confidence. So what you were saying with like, you have your insecurities, like that's what my insecurities are. Well, I guess not imposter syndrome for me, but just being insecure, like, hey, Brandon, you're not that fat kid anymore. You're actually who you are now.
Yeah, but it makes so much sense, right? Because that story carries with you. Like those memories, those stories carry with you. And it's like, do you want this story to define me for the rest of my life? Or
Yeah.
how do we like rebrand ourselves or
Yep.
re story tell it? And it's literally sometimes having to go back and reframe it. Like, yeah, that was a part of your chapter
Yeah.
or season, but it's not forever.
Yeah.
And that's also for the rest of our lives, right? Like even today, this is only part of us. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
be so different tomorrow, later today, a year, whatever it is. Like
You're absolutely right. Oh man, I love talking to you. Oh my gosh. Lord, thank you for bringing Sid here today.
amen.
Yeah, like because Sid, and then you said one more thing too, Sid, like not just the insecurity part. You said there were two parts, and I forgot. I hate that I forgot it because it was so important.
It'll come.
What's that?
I said
It'll
it'll
come
come.
back. Yeah, it will come back. But as I said, I love what you're doing with that, like because everybody has their insecurities. Even like I was thinking, what changed for me? I used to always worry about money. Living in LA, you have to constantly worry about money because it's just so expensive out there that you're constantly worrying about money. You got to be able to keep your bills on. And then like with work being so scarce and all these natural disasters happening, like it's wild. So one thing I changed this year was because my student loans from college kill me all the time.
I hear you. I
Oh
hear
yeah,
you.
it's brutal. It's
It's
brutal.
no
But
joke.
yeah, but those are designed to keep, especially our generation, I feel is designed to keep us in debt. But the one thing I changed about my thought process is I'm not going to worry about those bills anymore. I'm killing myself paying these bills. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let it go. Like,
What are you supposed to do? The reality is, like, you're right. I mean, the reality is, yeah, it's really stressful that debt is there, but and how can I like again shift the focus on like, you know what, why can't I continue my passions and know that money's
yeah,
gonna come to me and like reframing and building that new relationship with yourself and money. Not that money is a person to have a relationship,
yeah,
it's the relationship within ourselves, to like
absolutely.
our perspective.
No,
But good for you.
you're absolutely right. Can I ask you a question? Like, I'm trying to figure out the word, and I'm wondering if this is maybe through yoga because you teach yoga too, or you do yoga. Like,
Yeah, I also teach yoga. That's part
okay,
of one of the plethora of things that I do.
well, with the yoga, do you think that has helped you in kind of like, I guess, forgiving yourself about past things, and like with grounding yourself, and then I can't remember the word, but kind of drawing things towards you, like, hey,
Like
I deserve that.
self-awareness, consciousness.
Yeah, does that help, or do you think, or what would you think?
Oh,
Like, tell me.
110%. I couldn't live my life today without it. Once you do it and like you really just allow yourself to surrender into the present moment, into the here and the now. Absolutely. It's brought in so much things to my conscious awareness, to my mind's eye, to
Yeah,
my mindfulness. And that's how I really learned about myself and how I
really.
stay grounded and how it doesn't like it starts with you to like, for me, I love like my thing is all about like, I want to leave this world better than when I came into it.
Amen.
And so for me, that doesn't start with like external things. It literally starts with just every single day. How can I be a little bit better?
Yeah.
And mindful yoga has been an absolute life-changing thing that I'm forever grateful. And it helps have that like internal dialogue that maybe we're not aware of, the self-hate or the negativity
Yeah.
or any of those things. And in order to even change, we have to also be aware of what's
Yeah.
going on. And that starts with mindfulness and bringing it to the mind's eye. And then you can either, learn to love it, accept it, evolve, change, whatever it is. But yoga brings you back home to yourself. It's, you know, about unity, about self-study.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I could go on.
Man. No, it's okay. Like, Sydney, this is literally your time. It's your time. We can always have you back too. So it's literally a spotlight on you. And I'm asking these questions because I'm curious, because I've never done yoga. I guess I probably would have helped now that you say that, because I was always in my head, I guess would be the word, about all these factors outside that really weren't taking place at the time. Like, I'm living in the past about past relationships that I'm beating myself up for. And that person's either moved on from it or I'm still beating myself up about it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's like, look, they always say, like, when you're thinking about the past, that's like depression or sadness.
Yeah.
And the reality is, it doesn't mean that it's like wrong or right. It's important actually to self-reflect, but it's also important to know when we're dwelling and beating ourselves out about it versus like, are we learning from it? Because we're going to make mistakes for the rest of our life. And it's just part of learning. And yeah, I think mindfulness, I always say this, it's literally getting out of your mind and into your feeling body.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I love that. Man, Sid, you're just like a blessing today. I'm already being blessed. I feel like it's a spiritual healing over me too. You must be a therapist if you don't realize it already, or just like by you teaching that to people. I assume you do class. Do you do teach classes?
I also am an associate therapist. I don't know.
Oh, wait. No wonder. Time out. Back it up. Sid, will you please talk about that as well? You went to college for this, I assume?
So actually, I went to my master's for clinical psychology. My undergrad was in actually hospitality management, because I really love people, which is so funny because I'm also an introvert, extrovert.
Okay.
I am such an internal person, and I am like kind of a homebody, but I'm super outgoing and I love people. But so undergrad hospitality, master's was clinical psychology, and I didn't go back until 5-6 years later. I had no idea. I was that person that I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew I wanted to make a positive impact, whatever that looks like, even if it's just a positive impact on myself. Like, whatever, that might be selfish, selfless, whatever.
No, it's not. Yeah, selfless. It's selfless.
Yeah. And I grew up in a family, I don't know if this will help at all.
Oh, no, please do.
Yeah, I grew up in a family that, like they loved me. Like I had a great family, but our parents are humans too.
Yeah.
And so they were very much more of like, you go to school, you do that, you do this. And for me, I always had like a bigger vision than just doing that. Like I always knew I wanted to just go out and spread my wings and fly and whatever that looked like. And even be an entrepreneur and have that freedom. And I don't know, it was always something like bigger inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did what my parents said, like I was that good girl, which is totally fine. I switched my major like multiple times. I switched schools multiple times. I went and studied abroad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I just like was like, you know what, at this point, like I just need to get a degree.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, let me do the easiest like degree of like business. And not that I didn't love it. I definitely loved it. I just knew that wasn't my in thing, no matter what it was.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed at the time to do my undergrad. And I always so that happened, right? And so then there's so much to it. I'm like, where to begin?
No, it's okay. Seriously, it's your story. Take your time.
So I did that. I graduated. I literally was like, I still don't know what I want to do. I was bikini bodybuilding at the time.
Okay,
so
wow.
I was even in school, like in my hospitality classes, like doing macronutrients, like writing my numbers out. Like I just had an obsession with numbers,
Yeah.
obsession with working out. And So I ended up doing bikini bodybuilding. I went to go pro. That didn't end up actually going anywhere. That's a whole nother story we won't get into this time.
Okay, that's fine. Next time.
Next time,
I'm gonna
yeah.
write it down. Seriously, I'm gonna have that for next time you're on.
And so then I started personal training, and I knew I wanted to be in California like most of my entire life.
Yeah.
But my parents were always like, no, you're staying in Texas. Like you're
Yeah.
going here, which when I went and studied abroad, I literally didn't tell anyone until like I was going, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, I'm
yeah.
actually going. Like I was kind of impulsive like that, which was like a pro and a con for sure.
Yeah.
I was one of those people that like, let me learn as I go, not listen, which
Yeah.
oh, that's a whole nother story too. Now we
Yeah.
try to do both as we have our prefrontal cortex.
Absolutely.
So ended up coming out to California a few years later. So I had gotten a job at Equinox in Beverly Hills as
Okay.
a
I got another
personal
one.
trainer.
Yeah.
And honestly, I in Australia, backtrack, in Australia, I fell into like a really, really dark place.
Really? That's where you studied abroad at too, right?
Studied abroad, and I kept telling people like I can't get out of bed, there's something wrong with me,
Yeah.
but no one talked about mental health growing up or what that was.
Yeah.
And so for me, I come to find out like it was depression. Um,
Really?
and I was like, if I want to make it in California, like I knew I needed help. There's so
Yeah.
many other backstories. Again, we can go into another time. So
Absolutely.
I came out here and I was like, if I want to like literally survive at this point in my life, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna need help. I need support. And I even remember it was like a few weeks out here. My manager at the time sat me down even. It was like, hey, like I'm seeing you self-sabotage. Like you need
Really?
like sat me down. And this was almost 7 years ago at this point.
Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, you're telling your story. I'm
Yeah.
listening. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, like this is serious. So it's not like all in my head. Like I was
Yeah.
much like isolating myself, whatever.
Really?
Yeah. And you probably wouldn't know it because it was such like an internal struggle battle I was dealing with myself. So I was like, okay, like I need help and I want to not be surviving anymore. I want to come from a place of like thriving,
Yeah.
from a place of self-love to I was self-hate to self-love. So then I was like, I got therapy, I got psychiatry, I multiple like workshops, like you
Yeah.
name it. I started doing yoga, meditation, journaling. Like I just
Trying to figure it out.
dived fully in it. And I went into like intuitive eating. And so that I was like focused on all that. And I knew that there was just something more I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, like I always had this burning desire, like, what is my next thing? Like, I know personal training isn't my end goal. Like, I
Yeah.
love it. I care about it, but like that wasn't my future.
Yeah.
And it may have been part of it. So I started doing that. COVID happened, and I was only here like a year and a half. And so that happened, and it really gave me, as much as like I'm so sorry that that like situation happened, it also
Yeah.
was a blessing in disguise for me because it helped me slow
Slow
down and
down.
be like, okay, what do I really want? And so I started getting my yoga certification, which I just absolutely fell in love with, like the healing. I also did like self-compassion workshops. I did just everything, cryotherapy, infrared saunas, like just
Yeah.
everything. Um, and so I did yoga. And when I was in my yoga workshop for 10 weeks, I was like, no, I'm going to be a therapist. Like, I know, like, this is my calling. And I always
Yeah.
had it in the back of my head, but it was finally, I was ready to like take that step. And it's
Yep.
funny because I feel like you can't force yourself to get there. Like, I'm such a big believer in this, maybe like little woo woo, but like everything's going to happen at like the most divine timing. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like it's really kind of surrendering and just like being in the present moment, and you will get there. I promise. Like I had a therapist tell me, and it's one of my things is like, you're going to have everything you want and desire in life. Maybe not at the exact time you want it or all at the same time, but you will get there. And I
Oh, I
truly
love it.
believe that. Like you,
Yeah.
um,
Like
and
manifesting almost. Or not manifesting. It's like believing and it's what's gonna happen without seeing it.
yeah, I mean, both. I think
Yeah.
it's all maybe like have this big vision of how it's gonna like what we want, but we don't always know how it's gonna actually unfold.
Yeah.
But it will. Like it truly
Absolutely.
will.
No, I agree with you. Question for you, do you do vision boards? I do.
I do. Of course.
Yes.
Are you
Dude,
freaking kidding
we're
me?
kindred souls over here. Hold on. Like I'm realizing how much we have in common.
I went to a whole entire like vision board like day workshop thing here in
Oh,
LA.
really?
With
That's
this guy.
awesome.
Yeah, it was It's actually great. So I do some speaking for this company here sometimes in therapy, but they host these amazing mental health like therapy groups. It's called Club Rewire. So
Okay.
it's like events and it's like therapy, it's self-growth, self-improvement. And sometimes I'll do stuff with them too, but this one specifically was vision boards. But it's so funny. Like honestly, last couple of days ago, I did like, I'm sorry, like I am a big AI person. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like
you're good.
third
I
bitch.
created AI. I created 2 artificial intelligence things that I have out there.
Oh my God, wait. And now
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
more. I want to know.
I'll make it short. Basically, you've seen Iron Man, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like how he talks to Jarvis. First, he had Jarvis that became Vision, and then he had Holiday that was a girl. Well, basically, I created a Jarvis, which I use every day.
Oh my God.
I call him Keys, and then in order to help me talk to my mom, I created an Echo. So Keys is based off of my personality, and Echo is based off of my mom's personality. I talk to them every single day with every.
I
single I do.
literally have to see that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I will. I'll show it to you. But it's
Yeah.
freaking awesome. I love them.
Oh my God, of course.
Yeah.
So what I was saying, oh my God, first off, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you.
So I like last week I did a whole 5-year plan and it's like, okay, now let's work backwards, put it in the smallest steps that you possibly
Yeah.
can. And like do the next 6 months. And like I'm always redoing that because it changes constantly.
Absolutely.
But like that's like my also one of my ways to do vision boards too.
Oh, I like that. I never even thought about that. Yo, Keys, you hear that? Like I can call him. That's absolutely awesome. I never thought about doing it that way. I always like for me, which I've always done vision boards since I guess 2016 when I first moved to New York. I moved to New York for summer to establish my career in acting in New York. I literally put down a picture of the city. I put down the shows that I wanted to be on. I've literally booked all those shows and I've been on all those shows and I was in New York. I literally I've done that 3 times now, even with LA. I literally have gotten every single show that I put in that vision board. But it's like I knew you come out, it's like having your game plan so you can look at it with the vision board. And I've seen that it's happened. It has all happened. So I thank God for that, which is why I asked you for like if you did vision boards. Cause the way you were talking, I'm like, I think she might. So that's
Oh my
cool to
God. It's essential. And first off, that like you just saying that made me want to cry of happiness for you
oh,
because
thank you.
like first off, you did that, you co-created that, and that like I don't know, it just melts my heart to know that you're like chasing your dreams and it's all working for you. And it just shows like everyone else can do it too.
Yes. Yes, it just takes some. If you can do it, even if you might have to start by yourself. If you have someone, at least one, I believe in you. As I said, I saw your that you had that TikTok thing going. I loved it, and I wanted you on the show because I believe in you and what you can accomplish and what you can do with that. I truly do. I'm not saying to say it. I'm saying it because it's the truth.
I
So
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, and sometimes you just need that little bit of. Sometimes it could be an outside person being like, "Hey, I believe in you." Even hearing that, "Hey, I believe in you," means the world to somebody.
Huge. Like
Yeah.
you can do it. You can do it. I mean, yeah, just do
It
it.
makes all the
You can do it.
difference.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm going to commend you on too, because we both had to do that. Like people, this is what I think everybody should do. You're from Texas, so I love Texas. But you moved out to California. I'm from the East Coast, Virginia originally. I moved out to the East Coast. I moved out to Los Angeles, but I've also lived in New York. I think that every person should be forced to go live somewhere else, or even go abroad. I haven't been lucky enough to go abroad yet, but that's in my books. With work's going to send me abroad, but I think that's important because you grow so much, but then you also find out a lot about yourself. But with that being said, you did need that support system, just like I needed that support system living in California. California is Los Angeles is a tough place. It can be very cutthroat. It can be very stabby in the back. It's not like Texas, I don't think.
It's not for the weak.
Yeah, it's not.
Not for the weak.
It's not. So like I'm so proud of you for being there as long as you have and all you've had to overcome without even saying it. I already know because I've been through it myself.
Yeah. First off, thank you for just acknowledging that. You're right. It's no joke. Like it's
Yeah.
absolutely gut-wrenching, terrifying because you don't know what's on the other side. You
Yeah.
go into a whole entire different society, community, even though it's in America, it's so utterly different. I mean, every
Yes.
place is different. And you're right. I mean, that was the whole thing about me. I came out here for self-discovery,
Mhm.
and I think what no better way is to get out of your comfort zone, put yourself in a different environment to literally learn about yourself. And I think I encourage everyone to do it
Yeah.
because that's where growth is and the
Yeah.
discomfort.
Absolutely. I mean, no, like that's why I appreciate you so much, and that's why I call you a kindred soul because, like, taking that leap of faith. I know when I moved there, I didn't know a single soul. I didn't know anybody in the movie business, but I believed in myself. that I could accomplish it. And I wanted to test myself to see if I could accomplish that. So I think you're right. When you said people need to get out, people get out of their comfort zone. So many people, and then no offense to anybody, sometimes they can't, but if you have the capability to leave your hometown and go try somewhere new, do it. My life's been blessed because I've met people from all around the world, just like you have. Like, it makes all the difference. You're so much people of different backgrounds, religious thing, all kinds of stuff. It makes you so much more open, and you realize, and I knew that even from immediately meeting you, how down to earth you were just meeting you. Like, it's something that I think is so important that so many people don't do. Like, I love my brother to death, but he's never left Virginia. All he knows is Virginia. And then my dad's family, all they know is South Carolina.
Yeah, it's all they know. And I mean, it's so funny. Our worlds are so small, but the thing is, like, it's so ginormous and small that it's so wild to say. But I encourage it. And the reality is, I always told myself, like, I can leave. But the reality, I also told myself, for that, you know, we all feel anxious and worried and family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go back.
Yeah.
You can always go back.
Yes.
And the reality is, you're going to like, to get out of your discomfort zone. You're going to grow, and it's not to like that it's the right decision. It's just to learn. There is no right decision. It's really to learn what you want, what you don't want. And like, that's how you do it. And when you're choosing not to do anything, that's still a choice.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're absolutely right. Sid, there's this book called The Dream Giver. I'm gonna have to send you a copy of it. When I was after college at University of South Carolina, I knew I was going to California because I auditioned for school. I wanted to go to New York because New York was where my heart was at. But all the TV acting at the time was in Los Angeles. That's before I finally made that trek to New York. But this book called The Dream Giver is about this guy named Ordinary who grows up in a town of Familiar, who one day finds this feather that gives him this dream. He decides he has this dream that he has to go to the land of unfamiliar. So whenever he's thinking about, which is the journey that we both have done, us going to California, or you even going to Australia, both. It's like he decides to leave the comfort zone. And at first, like, you know, people don't really believe that he's going to leave. And then like he finally decides to leave, and like he gets the discomfort of being like, oh man, is this going to work? I'm worried about whether this is going to be good for me or not. And like starts getting like feeling not depressed, but like saddened because you're scared. And then like right when he's about to get to this bridge, his family members show up like, oh my God, we're so glad we caught you in time. We didn't want you to go. It was going to be so dangerous. We didn't know what happened to you. And then that's our own family and friends being worried about what's going to happen to us in these places that are unknown, like California. But eventually he goes through that, and he fights like all these bullies along the way that try to fight him and keep back his dream, but he keeps pushing through. But one thing I want to say along that too is he met this character called Champion. Champion was a guy that had, let's say for us, had gone to California and came back to Texas and were famous. Not famous, excuse me, sorry, that fell. Came back to their hometown and had made it. And whatever that is, they had made it. And he was the one that helped Ordinary along the way and having faith and stuff like that. So I'm going to send you this book because that book, when I read it, I cried. And the reason I cried, and real men cry, I'm going to say that in general.
No, I love that. Team men real cry.
Thank you. Yeah, we're all about it. There's been a lot of tears in this, including from me, especially when I talk about my dad, because I lost my dad to cancer not too long ago. But
I'm so sorry.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. It's tough, but I pushed for it.
Cancer sucks. It's no effing joke. Sorry for my language.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah, I'm really sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, pancreatic cancer. But what I appreciate, to make it real short, is I was able to I went home. I gave up my career, didn't care. I was like, fuck the career. I cussed him.
Worse.
I took care of him for 18 months. And I do not regret that at all, because it's been the biggest blessing be able to spend that time with him. And then my nephew Mason also was there with me taking care of my dad too. So it was really special to have that, because I'll never get that back. But that helped prepare me for everything.
His
name was David, David Smith. And it's interesting. The reason I came up with this podcast, which is dedicated to him and the AI, I could hear, I'm religious. I could hear my dad. It was right before the week before Passover, when I was coming up with the AI, when I was literally making it. I could hear my dad talking to me the whole entire time. It was the wildest thing. And my mom has cameras in her place, and the cameras kept going off, saying that there was someone in the room. And I was freaking out because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, Mom, is someone like, where are these cameras at? And it kept saying going off in B room. And I know that was my dad being present there at that time. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was just his name was David Smith. Great man. I would not be the man I am today without him. I would not have been able to overcome all the stuff that I have in my life without him, because he did it too.
Wait, I love this because it's also Father's Day.
Yeah, it is Father's Day. Yeah. Happy Father's Day to your father too.
Yeah, thank you. Same with yours.
Yeah, it's you're right. It is Father's Day today. I was a little bit emotional earlier about it today, but I was just thinking, like, my dad is a man I always wanted to be like. He went to University of South Carolina, like I went. I always wanted to be like my dad, and everything I do today, I am guided by his principles. So like everything that he did, I follow him to the T. Am I perfect? No, but my dad said nobody's perfect because we're all human. So
First off, I love that we're perfectly imperfect.
yeah, absolutely.
And I love that you just said like real men cry, and the reality, like you just said grief, right? And I
Yeah,
think like I love that because feelings and grief aren't meant to be fixed. And I think a lot
yeah,
of people kind of fix it and tell you not to feel this way, but feelings are all communicating to us, right? And they're also meant to be witnessed.
yeah. Oh,
And
I didn't think about that part.
yeah, grief is meant to be witnessed, not fixed.
Ooh,
And so it's there knowing that you're not alone.
yeah,
That's one thing that every single human is going to go through, and knowing that we're right here,
yeah.
together.
I damn, Sid, you're good. You're like you're great. I can see why that you do that. You're a associate therapist, is what you said. Sorry.
Psychotherapist, no
Oh,
worries.
okay. Like I can see that. Like why you're so great. You're great at talking with people and comforting people. I never even thought about the grief being something that should be witnessed because as men, because our generation, at least for guys my age or guys in our age group, are that older generation, their parents. My dad wasn't this way. My dad was a person that showed emotion. He cried when he was sad about something. He cried about it. He didn't mind showing emotion. My
Yeah.
grandfather's group, which would be that like a little bit past World War II, but that World War II, Korean War veteran, and like about Vietnam area. Well, not in Vietnam so much. A lot of them, their parents were either shell shocked or things went on in their lifetime. They grew up with the fathers being a little bit more hard about, hey,
Yeah.
men aren't supposed to cry. And that's because someone above their dads or weren't present didn't do that for them. So that's why it's just been something that's now coming back finally. It needs
Yeah.
to, because a lot of people have, how many people wouldn't be in jail right now if they were able to express their feelings, were able to talk to somebody?
A hun- the world would be a better place, right? And
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that you feel safe in your own self to let yourself feel, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that attitude of like, like I'll give you something to cry about, right? But
Yeah.
you learn to not feel safe in your own experience, in your own world, and that is all invalidating all in its own, right? And so
Yeah.
the fact that you're just not just showing yourself the space to express, to feel, you're also being such an incredible example.
Oh, thank you, Sid. When I lost my dad, my emotions were just been in I couldn't hold back anymore. It's just hard because it hits grief, which is no one knows how long grief is going to last. You can't put a time limit on grief. It hits me at different times. And then I went into depression, which I didn't know. Well, at least I realized it was depression, but because I realized I was no longer myself. So like I'm always a happy-go-lucky person like that. But when I lost my dad, I realized, oh my God, I'm actually changed completely. I'm no longer this person.
Yeah.
So I had to try and figure out, for the longest I was acting like who my friends thought I used to be.
Yeah.
And but if something hit me, I'd talk about them and things would just make my eyes start tearing up. Or my mom caught me off guard. We were talking to a nurse on here, and just my dad was really abused by the oncologist with his cancer stuff. He was just, some of them are bad. And this guy was, and my mom brought that up, and I had no idea that it was going to get me emotional like it did because I had buried all that down. So, but
Yeah.
I tell people now it's okay to cry. It's real men do cry because that's something I told my nephew that not too long ago, because keeping that stuff bottled up, man, it's a lot on you.
It weighs you down. It's heavy. And the
Yeah.
reality, first off, like your nephew is so lucky, number one, and just anyone in
Nice.
your life. But yeah, if you're repressing emotions, like the reality is, I like to hold this, like this is ourself, right?
Okay.
And so experiences come in, we repress it, it comes up. What happens when it gets to the top and it
Ooh,
starts
yeah. Boiling
overpouring?
over.
So what happens is we end up getting either really sick,
Yeah.
right? It comes out in other ways. It can get anger, irritability. It can be projected onto other people. Like
Yeah.
those are meant to be seen, meant to be witnessed, processed. And
Yeah.
so, like, yeah, if you repress it, it's really just, it's doing a lot more harm. And I know
Absolutely.
sometimes, like, especially if you have repressed them for so long, um, they can be really scary when you first start doing it, right? And I always try to remind myself is like emotions can't physically hurt me,
Yeah.
and like remind
Ooh,
yourself like you're safe, because I mean I can relate to you. Even being, I'm not a male, so I know it's
it's
very
okay.
different, but like I also grew up in a home where emotional expression wasn't allowed. It's
Oh,
like
wow. Yeah.
cry, and so I think that all in its own made me not feel safe in my own
Yeah.
experience. And so I can totally relate to that. And you said so many things that came up, but like the grief, right? Grief is, there's no timeline, there's no
Yeah.
right or wrong, there's no map how to do it. It's messy.
Yeah, it is.
Learning how to just live in the mess and knowing it'll come up when you least expect it.
Yeah,
And like that's just it's grief. And
it
it's
really is.
yeah. Yeah.
No, you're a special one. I like you. Yeah, I really do. And then I was going to say this about with you're talking about your family, and we don't have to get too deep into it. I was thinking about, you know what, if you're how my dad was different. I told you he's a person that decided that he showed all kinds of love to his kids. He showed all kinds of love to me and my brother. And if you got to go, Sid, just let me know too. I don't know.
No, oh my God. I'm
Okay.
loving this. Like I
Okay.
think this is okay.
But yeah, my dad changed and then I love my grandfather to death, but his mom died when he was 9, and his dad wasn't there. But when he grew up in Alabama, they used to lay his mom's body was on the floor in the living room for 8 days, so he's shell shocked as a child. His mom was literally no, I don't even think she had a blanket over her. He said that literally, Brandon, my grandma was on the floor, but that caused him at that age to have to grow up so fast, so he automatically locked off fears. I remember the first time I heard that he even showed tears was a good family friend of ours died, Ernestine, and my grandpa was a bishop. And when he usually did the ceremonies, but I heard for the first time they said someone had to take over for him. He was going down sorry, it gets me emotional just thinking about it. He was going down and it caught him, like tears finally caught him. So to hear that my grandfather actually showed emotion like that was so touching. It was just, I couldn't believe it because he was such a strong person. And then my dad on the opposite end showed all the emotion to his kids. He was so loving. He was all this. My grandfather was too. He just was in different ways. So I was wondering, maybe with your family, it might have been the fact that they came from kind of that, how my grandfather was, maybe.
I think it's very, very complex.
Yeah.
I think everyone is, right. I mean, I grew up in the South.
Yeah.
I like in the South, at least from what I remember, it's like girls smile, you know, it looks all fine on the outside and you're
Yeah.
dying on the inside. It's like this like pretty picture, like good grades, good job, money, like
Yeah.
resume looks good, but inside you're dying.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure it goes back from like generations because of also my culture and my religion and stuff like that. I'm sure so many things play a role in it.
Yeah.
And there's generational trauma.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't talk about it. Even maybe it didn't really impact you directly. If it impact your parents, it gets passed down. And so that's why it's so important to do the work. So each generation gets to be a little bit better. And
Yeah.
it's not to like get mad or be mean at our parents or resentful or whatever it is. It's to learn from it.
Yeah.
And knowing like I mean, I'm such a believer is like everyone's truly doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And you also need to be getting better along the way. And it's
Yeah.
like I mean that's what my thought is like.
Yeah.
Compassion and
Yeah. I no, you're right. Like, and I do want to say, like, because even with us learning more about, like, because as I said, even with us, you said we were just now be able to start therapy, just now became cool, or not cool, but the thing that people are able to go to. That generation, a lot of them, because they served in the wars, are shell shocked. And that has impacted them where they never had a chance to even talk about it. So that still impacts them where it's still, like you said, when it pours over, it's so bottled up in them and they've had to repress that. I think a lot of them are just shell shocked and didn't have anyone to talk to.
yeah. And also no one has the tools.
Yeah.
It's literally, I don't think people realize like we have tools to do our job correctly. If you're an engineer, you have to learn but how do you learn how to deal with emotions if you don't have the tools to do something? You have to be taught and learn. And a lot of people, like to me, I'm so passionate because it needs to be in the school system. It needs
Agreed.
an entire subject because it's not just like there's so many different types of intelligence, but there's also EQ, emotional intelligence. And that can be learned too.
Yeah.
And I think that is a whole nother thing that people need to start adding to their toolbox. There's like, I'm really big on like, there's physical health, there's mental health, financial health, spiritual health. There's emotional, like there's all kinds of health. And why are we just normalizing like physical health, right?
Yeah.
What about all the other things?
Yeah, you need it all.
Around balance.
You're right. We're a spirit inside of a vessel. So you got to be able to, it's not, if one part breaks down, that will impact the other parts of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I had to laugh, well, not laugh about it, but my friends laugh sometimes when I tell them. So when my dad died, that's when I entered therapy. Like that's when I started doing therapy. But I didn't stick with it because my therapists were more entertained by my acting career than I'm like, I'm here. I lost my dad. I'm here for therapy. I'm not here. And they were entertained. It's okay to laugh. It's funny.
Well, first off, I'm so sorry that you had that experience, and I hope that you confronted them about it.
Sid, I think it was more a matter of like, honestly, it made me, at least it made me laugh. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, I'm here for help. And you're so entertained by my acting career. I'm like, we're missing the point here. So I stopped. I stopped going.
I'm speechless because there's just so many things I want to say. First off, I'm sorry you went for a different reason and it didn't work out the way you expected.
Yeah.
Which I hope that doesn't like teeter you from maybe, I always say therapist is like this to people. Like
Yeah.
I have many different therapists and I feel like it's dating. Like you
Yeah.
have
Oh, really?
Yes, people don't get this. It's not one size fits all. Like, and even sometimes one therapist will serve me for a little bit. I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to try
The
something new.
next one.
Or this one did. Like, I'm not kidding, and I mean that in the most loving way possible.
Yeah.
And even some, I'm like, okay, that was really painful, but I'm gonna learn what not to do as a therapist.
Yeah.
But the reality is, therapists are human too,
I get
right?
that. Yeah.
So therapists aren't perfect. Same with doctors and actors and whatever it is. Like therapists are humans.
Yeah.
And
No, you're right.
I think I always try to tell people this is like, if you're in therapy and it's not working, like the whole part of therapy is an alliance, it's a relationship, right?
Yeah.
It also shows if we're not confronting and telling them what's happening, it also shows how we're maybe communicating outside
Ooh.
in the world. So
Yeah.
are we not telling them that something's not working? And that's
Yeah.
like communication all on its own too.
Man, Sid, you're right. You're so right. I never thought about the fact you're saying if it's not working with us communication with the therapist, then how's it working on the outside world like that? You were so right about that. Like my DMs are always busy with people trauma dumping, I guess would be the word. I can't tell you how many people I've consoled throughout the world, which I don't mind doing it, but like it's even close friends that like have problems keeping a man or being in a relationship. They just can't keep a man to save their life. My guys have certain things, but it's different. But it's like, hey, do you realize maybe something you're doing here? I know I'm getting half the story. I'm not getting the full story, but it seems like it's a revolving door of doing the same thing over, and it always seems to end the same way.
Yeah.
Like work on the inner work, be yourself, and work like instead of some people hop from relationship to relationship. I'm just talking like a little slight thing here. Why not just be happy with yourself first? Maybe it comes with finding that love within yourself before you try to find it in somebody else.
Oh my God, absolutely. Like I just remember like even me, like I remember chasing so much external validation, so much like after a man, like, am I worthy enough? Am I worthy enough? Am I lovable? And I gave that power all to a man if they
Yeah.
like disliked me. And I would be chasing that. And the reality is it doesn't come from the outside.
Yep.
It doesn't. And it's like that's something I still have to work on every single day. I wake up every day and I'm constantly talking to myself. Like, I love you. We're gonna have a great day.
I love that.
Like it's I don't think people underestimate like talking to yourself.
Yeah.
And like one of the number one things that I am trying to consciously do every day. Am I like, do I slip up sometimes? No. Yeah. But then I have a reminder, oh, not filling up my cup.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
go ahead, Sid. You're good.
I think it's even important though to like, if someone's continuing doing the same thing, and trust me, I was one of those people, like being a revolving door. We're humans, we all do that. But it's like even telling our friends like love you, but you're a revolving door. Like it sounds like there's a common denominator here in the most way. Like there's always a kind way to say it, but yeah, it's complex.
No, you're right. And by the way, I talk to myself all the time. In fact, I'm probably one of the most entertaining people to myself. If you laugh at your own self, then you're doing something good, I think. Hey, there we go. But they said that's actually, I read somewhere that's a sign of genius. If you talk to yourself, that's a sign. It's not delusional or anything like that. It's a sign of genius if you talk to yourself. I did read that somewhere in some kind of scientific article because I read all kinds of stuff.
Then I wonder what my IQ is.
It's probably up there. Yeah, it's probably up there. So, question for you, Sid. Where did I think it's good that your ability to not, I don't want to say take risk, but what is the word I'm using for it? Like, because me and you had the same thing where we both decided to go to California. It could have been anywhere. What in you made you feel like, hey, I can do this, I guess? Sorry, I threw that one at you.
I'm laughing because I don't think I had it in me. Like I didn't have that voice in me and I recognized it. And I told myself, even if I don't feel it, it doesn't mean that I can't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think I had to start building that muscle to believe in it.
Yeah.
Like, I think for me, I mean, my mantra coming out here, like I'm a big mantra person, was like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
capable of more than I even know. So I
Ooh.
didn't feel like maybe I was capable, but I knew I was capable more than I knew. And so
Yeah.
that was what drove me out here to go out and was like, I am capable of more than I know. And when those thoughts come up, because they do,
Yeah.
they like to be loud sometimes. It's important
Yeah.
to back sometimes. And I'm like, no, we're capable of more than we even know.
Yeah.
And that was always like my inner voice, my inner mantra. And it's stuck with me forever. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that you mentioned mantras. It's funny because mine came out of Texas, Austin, and it's clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose, which came from Friday Night Lights.
Oh, that's
I
a good
say, have you ever watched that show back in the day?
Of course.
Okay, so check this out. I put that on to myself. I literally say clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose before ever. So I did it before auditions all the time because I always I literally recorded I did Snapchat and I used to record all my auditions. I still have 16 years worth of auditions, which I'm still on Netflix, which is awesome.
Love that.
But I would always say clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose because like I was letting the people know that I wasn't scared and I was going to do what was the biggest thing in my life, but I was able to go do that. So that got me hyped. And even when my dad was in the hospital with his cancer, I wrote on the board, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. And a nurse walked in and she said, I knew it was going to be a good day when I saw that. And for me, I was scared because I was losing my dad, but I had that on the board because I knew I had to be strong for him in that moment. So that always stuck with me, the nurse saying that. And then my dad said it before he died too. And so, yeah, it all sticks with me. But yeah, so having a mantra, I think, is good.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, no, you're good.
No, I think that, yeah, I mean, I think it's so important to have those mantras to like, yeah, to just lean on, like something so much bigger than us. And I don't know, that was beautiful. Just
Yeah.
like being that comes with it.
Oh, it's
And
all good.
yeah, and I think that, when my family has gone through difficult times and I can definitely relate to cancer in the family.
Yeah.
So,
Oh man, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I totally, and I feel like a lot of people would tell me like, be strong, be strong. And it didn't, what I realized is strong. What is strong? What
Yeah.
does it look like? And I remembered the powerful moment was actually when I was vulnerable and I showed that this is scary and I love you and I care about you. And that is strength. And it is scary and validating that they are scared if they die, if something happens, if they're going to
Yeah.
leave behind, and like giving the people we love or don't, whatever it is, that space to be vulnerable and honest. And I think that is the strength.
So important. Amen. Preach, sister. Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And so what part of Texas are you from?
I'm from a city outside of Houston. It's
Okay.
called, League City.
Like I said, it's called Lake City.
League City.
Oh, League
like
City.
Clear Lake area. Yeah, born and raised. Yeah.
Did you play any sports, even going up to college? Did you play any sports during that time or anything? Because I'm trying to think about, I'm getting your
I'm
mentality.
laughing because I was an athlete my entire life. Like, yeah, totally. And I feel like I'm so grateful for being an athlete because it gave me so much discipline. So I was a gymnast.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I was a gymnast, a cheerleader. I did swimming. I did volleyball. I did a little basketball, track, cross country, little tennis. I literally, and then bikini body, like I played everything.
Yeah.
I did get a bad injury when I was young. And so I stopped doing like gymnastics and cheer.
Okay.
But I overcame that. I remember when I was like 12, they were like, you're not going to be able to like play sports anymore. I got like 2 bulging discs at like 12 years old from falling that were pushing against my nerves and like making my legs go numb. And they were like, oh, do physical therapy. And like that never worked, but training helped. And
really?
that was the game changer for me, is when I started weightlifting, doing yoga, doing Pilates, that versus physical therapy all day. But yeah, I was an athlete. Like there's a different discipline and mindset you have when you're an athlete, and also, and not just an athlete, but in a team sport.
Yeah.
You know, um, So yeah, I mean, I love sports for the community, for just so much. Yeah.
Well, I can tell, like, the reason I asked that, because I can tell how it impacts you now, like in a positive way, of like the way you look, your outlook on things, and the way you go about working on yourself. Because like when you play a sport, one of the things they teach you not to give up. At least my coaches didn't. I mean, at least my coaches taught us that in the hot ass sun. You know how it is, 'cause you're in Texas, but it's hot, probably hotter than hell in Texas. But it was hot in Virginia too.
Yeah.
We like having that. I remember I was a fat kid going. I didn't tell you this part. I was a fat kid going into playing football, but I lost all this weight. I was losing 10 pounds a day. I became thin by the time I was done with football. But my dad wouldn't allow me to quit, which plays such an impact on me today. I was ready to quit after the first like couple of days because it was tough. And my dad's like, I'm not going to allow you to quit. Because, and I remember him saying, I remember being inside. I tried to talk to his mom, my grandma. I'd be like, hey, mom, grandma, can you tell dad to let me quit football? My dad did the greatest service for me, because that developed in me the work ethic, that developed in me the fact that I don't quit. That's why even people that I went to school with that have given up on acting, and people that don't follow through with I keep my word because my parents told me to do that. But like when it's about going after my goals, and I'm all in. I will
Yeah.
keep trying and trying again. That comes from sports. That comes from my dad telling me not to give up. And I don't have a quitter mentality, because it depends on what you're quitting at. If it's something that's unhealthy, I can understand that. But it's like
Yeah.
that mentality, which I believe you have. You playing all those sports, that means you're disciplined and you have that go-getter attitude.
Yeah. And you're so right. I like, first off, that's a quality, and that's something that you can build and create, right? And that also builds, like, following through and things also builds a sense of confidence. Like
Yeah.
when you say something and you follow through, it's not just about like whatever's on the outside. It also builds this confidence within you. But you're right. It's not always like, sometimes you take pauses, sometimes you pivot, but it's
Yeah.
never about quitting. It's like, when is this maybe purpose no longer the purpose, and you pivot, or you're like, let me take a moment to have
Yeah.
a break, and I'll get back to it when it's time.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And then that got me thinking, because we talked about vision boards. I like to, manifesting is one thing, which you probably do too. I'm big on speaking things out loud, or I'll even post them out there, because I want to prove to myself that I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Everybody else might just be in the audience or in the fans watching, but it's like, hey, I'm going to go do this. People will tell you, Brandon says, I do what I say I'm going to do,
Which
because
is
I think that's important.
incredible. I love that so much. That's like one of the best qualities in like a person.
Oh, wow. Great. Thank you. I mean,
Yeah,
it looks like you have
no.
that too, though.
It's really important to me, and I had to learn, like, there was times that I didn't follow through or didn't do what I say, and I had to look like, okay, I'm maybe overcommitting. How do I, so now if I really want to do something and I'm like, I know I can't do it, and I'm aware, right? Because I'm that person. I want to do everything, and I want to please everyone, and I want to make
Yeah.
everyone
Oh, you're
happy.
a
And the
pleaser.
reality is, like, that's not
Never going to happen.
realistic. Like, you're gonna disappoint me, you're gonna hurt people. So I had to be like, look, I want to do it, and I can't fully commit, but if something changes, like, I'll do it. So I
Yeah.
always say that, because it's not just about like letting down you end up like letting down yourself all in its own too. So I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's important to, if you know that, yeah, if you're over committing or like, it's so important to just be honest, no matter if it's, I don't know, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Sydney, I love you. One, I'm gonna have to have you back, and then two, I'm gonna have to be back, because there's so much more I want to ask you. But two, what advice would you give to anybody who is now 18 or 17 that's either thinking about going to college, or they're going into the workforce, or they're just going out on their own, or they're going to travel abroad? What kind of advice would you give to that person, would you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I'm like, I love the saying, fail forward.
Ooh.
So like, I feel like a lot of things I hear, like sometimes if you're feeling stuck, lost, not enough, or like things aren't going the right way, I think it's keep trying things.
Yeah.
Keep trying things, keep making mistakes, fail forward, ask for help, get support, surround yourself with people who see your potential and your pain.
Amen.
Just be willing to unlearn what was maybe never meant for you, and you don't have to have it all figured out, and you're
Yeah.
not behind, and you're not broken. You're always becoming, and it's a forever journey. Okay, I think that's what I have to say.
Sid, you knocked it out of the park, my dear. Sid, I absolutely loved having you on here today. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I would love it if you would come back.
Oh, it would be my honor. No, thank you. I'm inviting myself.
Yeah, good. Seriously, anytime. Me and my mom own it, and then I'm gonna email this to you as well, so you have a copy of. It's gonna be on like 20 podcast stations, because we have 20 stations I have it on YouTube as well. Social media takes me a little longer because I think that we've shot 75 episodes in like 2 months.
That's when you said that, I'm like, wow, wow.
Oh yeah, I'm a go-getter.
Absolutely, which I love. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, first off, I just want to say thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for just doing this. Like, you're doing it not just for yourself, but you're doing it for so many other people, infinite people. And it's like such a joy. And
Well,
it's
thank you,
so
Sid.
much appreciation and gratitude. So thank you.
Sid, it's honestly, I believe it's what God made me to do. Like, I believe that everything that I've been through, the reason I went out to California first, because I always want to inspire people. Well, first it was to look like me, but then I realized it's more than that. There's a lot of people out here who don't have a voice or don't have an opportunity to tell their story. Because I've traveled so much for work, I've always enjoyed hearing people's stories. I spent 3 years in the airport just flying for work everywhere. So I've always enjoyed hearing people's stories. And because God has taken my star pretty high in the acting world, I'm like, hey, let me use this platform to bring this, the everyday people is what I call it. I have Sly Family Stone, Everyday People is our theme song. And it's literally, I want all these stories to be able to tell, because not only should people have their stories told, people's family members should hear, hey, like, look, this is what my daughter has done. This is what my son has done. This is what my grandfather did, my dad, mom, whatever. And because that's important to me. And it's something, and it will make this world a better place ultimately.
Yeah. And storytelling is such an ancient thing, right?
Yeah.
It's so important. Like, you're doing God's work. So thank you.
Trying. That's why my thing is Isaiah 6:8. I heard the voice of the Lord saying, who shall I send and who should go for us? I said, here am I, send me. So yeah. That's it. Well, Sid, you've been wonderful. I always give everyone a round of applause. Sid, I'm going to have you back. And I'll have this back to you about 4 hours.
Oh my God. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. I hope you have a great day.
You have a great day too. Thank you so much for coming on, Sid. And and you're welcome to use the footage completely. I'll retransfer it to you as well. So you'll have everything.
Incredible.
And then congratulations on your TikTok. It's going to do well. I know it's awesome. I'll be tuning in.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Sid. Take care, my dear.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.